The analysis from Birmingham 2022 on Commonwealth Tonight. This is a show that looks at what happens on day 10 of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham City, and what a day it has been for the Caribbean. Historic gold for the Barbadian Sade Williams in the 400 meters. A brilliant 4x400 gold for Trinidad and Tobago, propelled by the Dream, Jareem. And we also had the historic silver medal for Jamaica's Sunshine Girls in netball. Joining me for the analysis and the recap of what happened today in Birmingham City, senior writer at SportsMax.tv, Leighton Levy, and Obadele Thompson, bronze medal winner for the 100 meters at the 2000 Sydney Olympics and also the 1998 Commonwealth Games over 100 meters. And we'll be having a close look at what happened today at the championship. Let's look at the medal table at the moment. The Australians, as they had been from the start of the Commonwealth Games, on top, but not without a fight. 174 medals for them, 66 gold, 55 silver, 53 bronze. But look at the English, 55 gold medals, 59 silver, 52 bronze medals, 166 in total. Just 8 medals less than the Australians in total. Canada, New Zealand, India, Scotland, Nigeria, Wales, South Africa and Northern Ireland completing the top 10 on the medal table. Let's look at page 2 now, where we find the Jamaicans in 12th position with 15 medals, 6 gold, 6 silver and 3 bronze, down from the 27 medals they won at the Gold Coast in Australia 4 years ago, and down from the 22 they won in Glasgow back in 2014. Kenya in 13th, Trinidad and Tobago in 14th spot, 3 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze for their 6 total. Barbados 20th at the moment with 1 gold, 1 silver and 3 bronze, matching their best ever haul at the Commonwealth Games. They had 3 medals back in 1998 in Kuala Lumpur. And there is the third page with Cameroon, Zambia, Grenada with their 1 gold and 1 silver. That silver coming from Anderson Peters today. The Bahamians also with 1 gold and 1 silver medal. Bermuda with their 1 gold medal from the triathlon champion Flora Duffy. And the Dominicans in 35th position at the moment with their 1 gold. The St. Lucians are there as well, 1 silver I should say. The St. Lucians there as well with 1 silver medal. So that is the medal story of the current standings at the Commonwealth Games. And today we had a big netball match at the NEC Arena, where the Jamaicans, for the first time in their history, competed in a major championship final against the Australians, who they had beaten a few days earlier in their Pool A top of the table clash. But things didn't go that well for the Sunshine Girls today, as the Aussies, they are the world #1 and 3-time Commonwealth champions before today, because they are now 4-time champions. They managed to withstand the strength of the Sunshine Girls. Here are the closing moments.
And the clock's running down. This is what they've aimed to do, the Australian attacking. Run the clock down every time.
Strikes a goal shooter.
Well, there's a massive roar going up around the arena. The Australians here, they know they've got it.
Moving on.
And the Jamaican fans, of which there are many, can't believe it. Look at the faces of the substitutes.
And also the changes that Australia have made have been absolutely impactful for them.
Whole time. Goal defence contact near the trend, ladies.
Now Connie Francis, she looks stern. They know it's gone. Last few moments of the netball here at Birmingham 2022.
Both coaches are standing, they're emotional.
Australia burst the Jamaican bubble. They win their 4th netball gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. Redemption for the gold.
So add this gold medal to the Aussies' tally of 3 before this, 1998, 2002 and 2014. 4-time champions of the Commonwealth Games, now the Australians, current world #1, and fighting off the Sunshine Girls, who had won 3 bronze medals before in Commonwealth Games history. First time ever contesting a Commonwealth Games final, first time ever contesting a major netball final, and they were beaten by a very tough, experienced and determined Australian team. Leighton Levy, we had suspected that although the Jamaicans had beaten them in the top of the table Pool A match earlier this week, it would be a tough assignment here in the final because the Aussies would be coming with blood in their eyes.
There's a reason why they call them the Diamonds. They're very hard to break. I mean, the Jamaicans played well in that pool match, the Pool A match, where Jamaica end up topping the group. And the Australians made some significant adjustments. And what we saw today was that they made it more difficult for Jamaica to get the ball into the attacking circle. Jamaica scored 51 of 52 attempts on goal, which is excellent. However, Australia got 55 of their 57 attempts. The difference was the Australian defense, and I thought their midcourt play was excellent. Not that Jamaica was terrible, but Jamaica was beaten by a hardened, tough, experienced team that knew how to get over the Jamaican obstacle. They respected us. When you saw the way they played in this game, they respected Jamaica, and that was the difference. You don't underestimate an opponent that's beat you a few days ago. And they made the necessary adjustments. They made some tactical changes, some personal changes, and it paid off for them. And, of course, a very valiant effort from Jamaica. This was perhaps one of the best performances, if not the best performance we've seen from a Sunshine Girls team in a major tournament. And I think the ladies can walk away with their heads held high because I think they were just beaten by the better team on the day.
Yeah, you know what, Oba, a lot of Jamaicans following the history of this Jamaica netball team would have been disappointed that the best the team had ever reached was third in any championship. Bronze in Commonwealth, third at the World Netball Championship, which they achieved a couple of times. Should they then, by virtue of that, be satisfied with this runner-up spot? Or is it that having beaten the Aussies a few days ago, be disappointed that they weren't able to do it again?
No, I think that this performance should be celebrated. Jamaica was ranked #4. They beat Australia and New Zealand and then faced Australia again. And as Leighton was saying, there's a reason why they're #1. They made the adjustments. They came out extremely strong in the third quarter and pulled ahead, I believe, at one stage by 10 goals. And at that stage, it becomes almost impossible to claw back. And so when you look at the totality of what is done, I think that this perhaps should be a turning point in terms of establishing a tradition that will be built upon and hopefully within the team a culture so that new players, as they come into the system, realize that this is now the new standard, the expectation in terms of the way that you prepare, the camaraderie, and the way that you fight, and the way that you represent Jamaica. And hopefully this also is an inspiration throughout the Caribbean to show that one has done it, more should be able to do it as well.
And also, I think it's an opportunity as well, outside of the girls themselves, for them to get the kind of support that they've been lacking for years. Look, this is probably this is Jamaica's most successful team sport ever. They've been ranked consistently in the top 4 in the world. They constantly battle against the best teams in the world. But unfortunately, they've not been able to get the kind of support. Unfortunately, we've seen so far, a company has come on board now with a 3-year sponsorship for the team. I think that should be the beginning of a broader support element from corporate Jamaica. Because these girls, what else do they need to do? They've demonstrated time and time again that they're the best in the world. But unfortunately, they don't seem to get the kind of support that they deserve. And I think this should be a start, a demonstration of what is possible if they get the kind of support that they need.
Yeah, a lot has been said about Janelle Fowler's leadership of this team, a real champion shooter in the Suncorp Super Netball League in Australia, where she's with the champion team West Coast Fever. And Donald Oliver spoke to her at the end of the match today and the silver medal winning effort.
First of all, congratulations on the silver medal. What are your feelings at this time? A bit mixed feelings because definitely we wanted the gold, but the silver will do for now. Yeah, happy that we went out there and we did compete against Australia. Third quarter let us down a little bit. Yeah, we fought hard to get back, but yeah, we just couldn't.
Stellar performance in the second quarter to get back. Firstly, I thought we got away with a lot of stuff in the first quarter to then close it to 2, and then we did better in the second quarter. But the third quarter, what happened there?
I reckon we just did not take care of the ball the way we should have, and just fell apart a little bit, but we did, you know, find our feet again, but it was a little bit too late. And against a world-class team like Australia, you have to make sure that you're on your top game. But yeah, they came out and they pushed us.
You're not too far away, though.
Most definitely. If they're the number 1 team and they could only beat us by 4, given the resource they have, we have little to nothing at all. You know, if we're to have half of what they have, imagine what we would do out there. But we are grateful for what we have. We're grateful for what we did out there today.
What have you learned from this experience as captain?
Yeah, I've learned that once we stay humble, focused and disciplined, that we can conquer anything.
What do we need to get over the edge, you feel, to get that gold medal?
We need a lot of resources back home. We need help to prepare ourselves, prepare our body, have the right facilities so that we're able to compete against the best and come out on top.
Is it fair to say that the girls played out of their skin? And how do you make this a normal feat?
How do we make it a normal feat is, honestly, the mindset that we came into this tournament with was second to none. And I reckon if we continue with that mindset, coupled with the help that we need, yeah, we can maintain this moving forward.
Yeah, so one of the most significant things we heard from Janelle Fowler just now when asked about the silver medal and how satisfied she was with that, she said she's okay with the silver for now. And I think that fits into the narrative that Leighton and Oba presented earlier on when you both suggested that this is a platform now to aim for higher, that they should be satisfied with the improvement that they have shown and challenged for the first time for a major gold medal, but that not lost on the captain, Oba, that, you know, this is the beginning of what they want to be more.
Yeah, and it was good to hear that from her. She understands what it's all about. And hopefully now that they have shown that they can deliver even with less resources. And that's something that people need to appreciate. Oftentimes our athletes are not as well funded as those from bigger countries. We have less resources and we have smaller populations from which we can draw our talent, but the talent is there. So now the question becomes, will the private sector, will the public sector believe enough to say, you know what? We belong among the best. We will support you as best as we can to stay among the best. That's the critical question that faces Jamaica with regard to netball and other sports and a lot of the Caribbean islands. And hopefully the answer based on the results that we've seen at these Commonwealth Games is a resounding yes.
Yeah, and to build on what Oba just mentioned, it's not just the resources and funding for the team, but even facilities and the infrastructure for the sport. The main rivals for Jamaica in World Netball would be New Zealand and Australia.
And England.
But the New Zealanders and Australians in particular have a tremendously high-level netball program, facilities and their professional league and they have and so on. So pretty tough for the Jamaicans to match that as far as funding and infrastructure is concerned. Well, we move to our break now. When we come back, we talk track and field and some really big moments today at the Alexander Stadium, highlighted by girls and boys from TNT and Barbados.
It's all about judgment. We had a bizarre judgment call in the men's race with a champion who came through from way back. But look at the Malawi athletes in Mwaka blasting away centre of picture in lane 5. She's already shot past Cara Constantine, Sauda Williams and Constantine of Canada. Sauda Williams in the yellow there, third from left now, just beginning to ease into her run. It's Mwaka cover the first 200 insanely quickly. Ohurugu in the white and red there, third from right for England, going really well in lane 4. But at the moment, Sauda Williams of Barbados has the lead by a convincing margin and into the straight. The rest of them have got a lot of work to do. Ohurugu's coming through, bleeding for the silver, but surely not going to get back to the Barbadian Williams. Williams storming away to this one. The margin is 6 metres, maybe 7 metres at the line. 49.91. It's a games record at last in a Commonwealth Games Women's 400 final. The 50-second barrier has been broken.
Yeah, so never before in the history of the Commonwealth Games has a woman cracked the 50-second barrier for the 400 meters. No Barbadian has ever won a medal in the 400 meters at the Commonwealth Games. So history on many fronts here for Sade Williams. We can't say, Oba and Leighton, that this is a surprise because we had her as a favourite to win, but she won handsomely by about 7 or 8 meters.
Yeah. When we looked at her in the rounds, she didn't look as sharp as she did in Eugene a couple of weeks ago when she ran 49.75. And the runner from Malawi on her inside, Simwaka, took it out. And I think that lit a flame underneath Sade. And she ran that last 200 in amazing fashion. We saw her from 200 to 300. She took total control. She came in, she dominated along the straightaway. She won going away. Sub 50, her second sub 50 performance, and she won by a mile. She won by 0.8 seconds. And so this was a great execution by her. And when you think of some of the other great runners who have run the 400 meters at the Commonwealth Games, you know, you think of, for instance, Uhurugu,
yes,
Christina Uhurugu, who was the Olympic champion. None of those great runners cracked 50 seconds. She was able to do it and establish a new games record. Phenomenal for her and for Barbados.
Yeah, I want to say, too, that this girl still holds the Barbados national record for 200 meters at 22.61, which she achieved as a schoolgirl at the secondary schools championship. I know you sprinters, Oba, are deathly afraid of the 400 meters. What kind of thinking would have gone to her pursuing the 400 as opposed to the 200, which she's quite competent at as well?
Well, my understanding was that she was having problems with injuries. Yes. And sometimes when an athlete, they're young, they sprint too much, and they establish that history of injuries, it may be better just to slow them down a little bit more, take them up a distance. And that's what we saw. She went up to the 400 meters. She still maintains that 200 meters speed, but now she's able to spread it. And it's really just a commitment to what you're doing. She's there at MVP with Stephen Francis. He is known to produce winners, female winners especially, at the global level. And I think she's bought into the system, and we've seen the fruit of her labor in the last, especially 2 years.
Yes.
She missed out on the Olympic Games, ironically, to Jody Williams, who came third here. Sade ran 50.11 for a new national record and personal best. And this year, after that, we saw her in Europe run really well at Diamond Leagues. This year, continue that trend. And so I think now we're seeing, you know, the fruit of the hard work, her being healthy, and her being in a system that knows how to produce world beaters.
Yeah, since 1998 or so, Leighton, the Caribbean has served up 4 of the last 7 winners of the Commonwealth Games 400 title for women. Sandy Richards, Stephanie Anna McPherson, and the Guyanese Allian Pompey. Williams now.
Shawnee Weaver as well. Shawnee Miller.
She did the 200.
Sorry, yeah, my bad. Sorry.
So Williams now becomes the 4th in 7 Commonwealth Games from the Caribbean. Oba just mentioned something about the quality list of past winners of this 400 title. How good is Williams?
She's right now, I think she's trending up towards. I mean, Amansu Monshaw had the previous record from 2010, 50.10. She just took 0.2 of a second off of that. I think she's now in that pantheon of great Caribbean women who have run the 400 meters. And I think what we saw at the World Championships, 49.75, and of course 49.9 here, tells you at 24 years old that perhaps her best is yet to come. Oba alluded to something earlier about her buying into the system. Her belief is so clear now that she's among the best in the world. And I think that may have stemmed from the bronze medal at the World Championships. But when you look at how she dominated this race and took control of this race, mid-race, and took it home, she's now in that space in her mind that I am among the best in the world. And there is no doubt So the only thing that I think can stop her now is herself, because I believe that once Stephen Francis sees these, well, obviously expected these performances, this is now a lot to build on. This is a nice base to build on for the World Championships in Budapest next year, the Olympics in 2024. And we could see that now that Shawnee Miller has stepped down to the 200, that this young lady could be the best of the Caribbean 400-meter runners.
Yeah, okay, so her schoolmate at Coleridge and Parry in St. Peter, Jonathan Jones, both of them, I think, transitioned to Harrison College for sixth form. Jonathan Jones was in action within half an hour of her running that gold medal effort here. He was one of the favorites for the 400. Let's look at how he did then.
And the gun goes for a clean start. The roar is deafening here in Birmingham. Hudson Smith losing nicely. Moesa, the Kenyan inside him in lane number 6, also going well. Down the back straight in the sunshine at Alexander Stadium. Hudson Smith, the world bronze medalist. We'll know Moesa of Kenya on the inside is closing. But he's putting his foot down here, Hudson Smith. Jones running nicely in lane number 5, currently in the bronze medal position. Now he has to hold his form. England, Kenya, Uganda. Matt Hudson Smith tying up. Keep your eye on the African in lane number 8. And out of lane number 8, Muzala Samukonga, 44.65 seconds. Breaking the heart of the English fans, breaking the heart of Matt Hudson Smith on his home track. This guy ran 44.89 and a personal best in his heat. And he's confirmed at 44.66 for Muzala Samukonga of the Zambia.
Yes, so the upset win there, 44.66, a personal best for Samukonga. And that was a shocker. We'll talk a little bit more about that after this. But Jonathan Jones came into this event as one of the favorites. This man, the Brit Hudson Smith was expected to win, especially from the home fans after his bronze in Eugene. But, you know, there was something about him that I just felt he wouldn't have won. I thought Jonathan Jones would have won. Your thoughts, Oba, first of all, on Jones's tactics in the race and how he executed?
Jonathan ran well. He's had a long season. I don't know how many races he's run this year, but he has run sub 45 7 times and sub 44 on relay legs, including a 43.2 3 times this season. He has a lot of races in his leg. Even at these championships, before the finals, he had already run 3 400 meters, including
the relay,
the relay leg,
which was a tremendous run. He put a lot into it.
Exactly,
and that was the same day he contested the semifinal.
The semifinal,
yeah.
So to see what he has done, to see what has been able to do, to move from making the semifinals last year in Tokyo to making the World Championship finals to being on the podium here at Commonwealth Games, I think really bodes well for his future. I chat with Jonathan quite often. I know when he's ready because he's a person that doesn't say a lot before he competes. He just goes out there and gets the job done. I think over time, maybe the 800 might be better, but what we're witnessing is a special young man. And hopefully with health and continued being in a system which caters to his particular strengths and is able to bring up some of the areas that he's not so good in, I think we can see him for a long time in the future.
Yeah, well, this was Barbados' first medal in this event, the 400 hurdles at the 400 meters flat at the Commonwealth Games. Here he's finishing really, really strongly here. Your quick thoughts, Leighton, about Jonathan Jones's effort here before we talk about Samukonga.
What I liked about him, he didn't panic down the stretch. Normally, when you're running the 400 and your body's tired and you see people surging ahead of you, you tend to tighten up a little bit, and it costs you time and distance. What I saw from Jonathan Jones was somebody who he knew he was going to end up on the podium. He maintained his composure. He remained relaxed, even though his body was tiring, and eventually found enough energy to get through to the line. Because when you saw, he was third here. And of course, I don't know if you would have seen Samukonga on the outside blasting through like a madman, like he's done for all 3 rounds. But if you realize he just kept going. He did not tighten up. If you look at his shoulders, he was pretty relaxed. And he just kept turning his legs over and driving his arms. And it paid off in the end.
Yeah, well, he did say in the post-race interview with Ricardo Chambers that in his peripheral vision he did see Samakonga finishing very fast and knew he had work to do, but he was determined to get a medal. Samakonga's victory was a shocker for me.
Me too.
Yeah, I saw him in his first round race running as if he was running for a gold medal and collapsed 3 times after the race and was taken off the track in a wheelchair. And I'm saying, why is he running so hard in the heats? And I guess he answered my question. Today. Yeah, but he was tremendous. Oh, but that was a stunning run.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. He came into these championships with a 45.02 personal best.
Yes,
ran 44.89, as you said, looking like if it was a one race and he had won the championships. Carted off. Then I believe he ran the relay leg.
He did, yes.
He came second in the semifinal, I believe. And then I was looking at the data. He was a second behind Hudson Smith at the 200 meters.
Yes.
He was in 4th position, well off the pace at 300 meters. And all of a sudden, he's there slowly and then quickly catching everyone.
Yeah.
And he has time to celebrate at the end. Look at him.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like it before.
Yeah, I saw a slow-mo replay which sort of zoomed in on him, and he took a glance at Hudson Smith, almost as if he was a target.
Yeah.
He just glanced at him and said, "I'm going to get you." It was about here. And the acceleration that he showed in the last 80 meters is something that I rarely, if ever, had seen before in a 400 meters.
Can I tell you, this is why I used to run the 400 in high school.
Yes.
And I used to die the same way afterwards. I used to load up on a lot of glucose and run the first, because I was a 1-2 man, I used to run to the first 250 relatively easy and then blast home and then die. This is how he runs the 400. And so I know the pain that he experiences, but he's going to get better in the long run once he understands speed distribution and how to handle the 400 better. But clearly, what he has now obviously works for him. He stays within touch and he knows.
That is it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
And that's what you do. You target the person at the front of the race and you measure, you have a sense of how much energy you have left as to whether or not that energy can take you there. And more often than not, if you gamble right and you strategize right, you can do it. But it's a very painful way to run a 400. It's dreadful.
Yeah. Oh, but for Barbados, who won 3 medals here, equaling their previous best 3 in 1998 in Kuala Lumpur, when Andrea Blackett won the 400 hurdles, and yourself and the cyclist Barry Ford won bronze medals as well. You in the 100 behind Atto Bolden and Namibian Frankie Fredericks. How satisfied are you, or how did you feel today when you saw Sade Williams winning gold and Jonathan Jones taking the fabulous bronze he did?
I feel extremely proud, and it's to get a chance to hear our anthem and see our flag go up at the top. Yeah. It's a great feeling. It's long overdue. I've long said we have had the talent. We've seen this before in 2009 when Ryan Braffett won
in Berlin.
Won the 110 hurdles in Berlin.
13.14.
Still the national record. And we've had glimpses of it in the past. The hope is that we can take from this and build with the core group of athletes that we have now. And there has, like I was saying with the netball, there has to be a strong belief. There has to be policy, and there has to be funding, and there has to be structure in place to ensure that the athletes that we have are well maintained so that they can continue to do well. And then there's a pipeline established for the ones coming up. And I think once we can do that, that there won't be a 24-year gap between what they've done today and
what was the last time.
Exactly.
And there's an idea here as well. I mean, we are a small region, and there's 6 billion people in the English-speaking Caribbean, I think. I think there needs to be a greater effort to share resources. Barbados doesn't have the coaching acumen that Jamaica has at its disposal. Trinidad has some coaches. I don't see a reason why we can't just help each other to develop. Because just like Oshade can come to Jamaica under Stephen Francis and develop into one of the best in the world, and he wasn't the first to be here. This is an example of what can be possible if we just decide, look, we each have limited resources in the Caribbean. Why don't we just pool them together and help to build a stronger Caribbean? I mean,
it does happen to some extent. Delia Palmer, the cyclist from Jamaica, is based in Trinidad and Tobago. There are a lot of cricketers in Guyana and Jamaica and all over that play in Barbados and Trinidad who have a more active domestic cricket season than most other countries. So it does happen to some extent. But I take your point, Leighton, that it needs to be enhanced.
Yeah, a more coordinated effort, you know. So there can be exchange programs, there can be, you know, systems set up that some of these athletes can get the exposure that they need to proper coaching. Because not everybody's going to be able to get to the United States or England or wherever it is. You know, so use what you have at your disposal.
Let's hear Jonathan Jones now following his bronze medal run in the 400 meters.
The bronze medalist in the men's 400. Jonathan, let's talk about that performance. It showed real guts, real heart, holding on at the finish in a fabulous race. How proud are you of what you have achieved at the end of a very long season?
I'm very proud. I know this season was long, and I know this is my last 400, so I'm grateful to leave with a podium finish, obviously. Obviously, I wanted to finish in the first position, but just to come here, experience the English competition and English culture, and then come out with a medal, I feel really well.
Talk to me about the race itself and just how difficult it was and the heart you showed, especially in that last 50.
The race, I ain't gonna lie, at the start, the guy to my outside, he got out quicker than I expected. Because normally I would want to close in the first 150 so I could be still in the race, because I know that my strength is in the finish, not in the start. So him pulling away, I kind of not panicked, but I was just surprised. So then I had to improvise and push out a little harder than I wanted to. And then the last 50, I saw the Kenyan in front of me, and I was like, okay, if I could get him, I could possibly try to get first. And then to my peripheral, I saw another figure in the outside lane flying. So I was like, I got to just do or die. And I wanted a medal. If I wasn't going to get first or second, I had to get third. So I just put everything, my body aside, and just made sure I got to the lane in top 3.
Yeah, it was one of those crazy races, and your teammate Shade Williams, what a run to give Barbados gold.
Barbados got a gold, a silver, and a bronze. We're only 300,000 strong, and for all 300,000 we get 3 medals, so proud moment for Barbados.
Yeah, of course, Shane Brathwaite, the silver medalist in the sprint hurdles. You still have the 4x4 later. How difficult is it going to be to recover for that?
I ain't gonna lie, it could be hard, but I always put my best foot forward. I could try to give my team the best leg I can, no matter how my body feeling, and if it come out that we get a medal, we can be proud. Making the final in itself, because this is the first 4x4 we ever put out, especially from my generation, since a lot of years before. So just being in the final is a blessing, but even if we get a medal, that's an added blessing.
Yeah, so he did mention that this was the first 4x4 that the Barbadians would be putting out in his generation. The last time, actually, in 1982, that they had a 4x4 team at the Commonwealth Games. Jonathan Jones there talking about his bronze medal effort. We're going to go to the 4x4 relays in a short while, gentlemen. The first one will be the men's 4x4, which Jonathan Jones just spoke of. Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago were the teams involved there, and we're going to pick the action up for the last changeover.
Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Botswana, a superb run by Anthony Pasella of Botswana. The hands are held high by the outgoing runners. Botswana now pop into the lead.
Well, that's probably the perfect position, Kath. Wouldn't you always want to be a metre or so down on the leader rather than behind him? But he's not hanging about. Jareem Richards, the 200 champion, has blasted straight past the final leg runner for Botswana by Uppo and Dory and into the lead, and he has a couple of metres with 200 to run.
Jareem Richards in the final 200 metres, looking around. He's cool, he's calm. He's got such good speed endurance, but Botswana are saying, Dory onto his shoulder. Trinidad and Tobago, Botswana battling for the gold medal. Kenya have come into the bronze medal position, passing Jamaica, but Jareem Richards, easy as you like, 3:01.30, a brilliant run by the Trinidad and Tobago team. They were set up perfectly for Jareem Richards to dance.
Yeah, what a runner there. Jareem the Dream Richards. the 400 indoor world champion at the moment, 200 champion at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and he was absolutely brilliant for Trinidad and Tobago. In 1966, Trinidad won what was the 4x440 yard with a mile relay. They still call it the mile relay. That team of Lennox Yearwood, Kent, Bernard, Edwin Roberts, and Wendell Motley. And this team repeated the gold medal effort of that team from 1966, those games staged in Kingston, Jamaica. And what a run by the Trinis, Oba.
Yes, indeed. And I think the guys were probably running in honor of Dion Lindo, who passed away, unfortunately, this year in a car accident in January in Texas. Richards ran an expert leg. He ran 44.7 on his split. He was in second position. He took the lead. He knew that he was faster than the Botswana anchor leg. And we see him, he's just so easy. And this is something that I try to tell some of the 200-meter runners. When I went to university, I was a 100, 200-meter runner, and then they built my base. I would do 500, 600s, 450 meters, and that made me extremely strong. What some runners do, unfortunately, is they focus so much on the 100 meters and getting that right at the expense of getting strong and having that speed endurance. So here we see the case where I don't even know what Jareem Richards' 100-meter personal best is, but he's a 19.8 runner, and he's a 44.7 runner who can do this. And I think sometimes athletes and coaches must consider exactly what is the strength of your athlete. And some athletes are going to be more of the 100-meter to 200-meter type. Some are going to be more the 400, or in the case of Jonathan Jones, 800, 1500 coming down to the 400-meter. But when we see someone like Richards, who is so confident and who has done the work, execute like this, he's a hard man to beat.
Yeah, really fabulous run there by him. And he's such a utility man because Oba just pointed out how proficient he is at sprinting and good at the 200 meters, as he showed with his gold medal run here. But he had always been a fabulous 400 runner as well. And, to be quite honest, I'm not even sure which is his better event.
Well, he says he loves the 2. He hates the 4. Because, remember, I think it was 2017 when they beat the U.S. in the 4x4?
So.
He split 43 on that leg. The thing with Jareem, I've got goosebumps a couple of times during his World Championships. With Leighton Thompson's 200, Jareem's 200, and of course this anchor leg today. Because when you look at how accomplished the performance was, he didn't go out there and try to kill himself to win the race. He measured the race very well. When the Botswana athlete tried to gain on him, he, as my friend would say, turned down the nose and just pulled away easily. Mm-hmm. This, as I said, this is the a victory that mirrors the 66. The only difference is that the 66 team set a world record. This one didn't, but this was still an outstanding performance.
Yeah, we're going to go to the interview now with Jareem Richards as he spoke to Ricardo Chambers and the rest of the team. I think Machel Cedeno also had a quick word, but let's go trackside now to Ricardo Chambers with a post-race interview.
Second gold medal in athletics for Trinidad and Tobago at the Commonwealth Games. They win the 4x4 anchored by Jareem Richards, the 200 champion. Jareem, what a performance from your team. Initially, many would have thought you would have had a big job to do. You did have a big job, but you got it in the lead.
First of all, I want to say praise to God. This is the first time this team has ever run in this order. Shout out to Dwight for doing his job, shout out to Asa for doing his job, and of course shout out to Marshall for doing his job also. I know Dion will be looking down at us and be very proud of this 4x4 team to see where we've come from to where we are now, Commonwealth Games champions. So I know that is something he would be proud of us for, and I'm really proud of this team for the execution.
Talk to me a little bit about the putting together of the team, because we're so accustomed to you being on second. Today you are on anchor.
Well, from yesterday, we had 2 of the younger ones on the team, Chief King and Che Lara. They said that's good for us to be able to make it to the final. But today, the plan definitely was just to put me on the last leg and see how well I could finish. And everyone did their job exceptionally. Asa might as well take me off of the second leg with that leg that he put on there today. Dwight did his job on the first leg, gave us a lead from the start. Asa extended that lead, Marshall hold that lead and did well and open up on that lead too for me. So the team, where I got the button, it had no wrong for me to do. Just finish strong.
You could barely walk over here to talk to us. What's happening?
400, boy. 400 hurts. 400 hurts. But, you know, I will sacrifice myself any day for this 4x4 team.
And what do you have to say to Trinidad and Tobago tonight as you leave the Commonwealth Games?
Well, I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago, I'll leave that to the rest of my teammates.
I just want to say thanks for supporting us through the Commonwealth Games. You know, we appreciate all the support. Everyone on social media was backing us. We felt, we felt the love. You know what I mean? We just have to come out and execute and bring it back home for the people of Trinidad.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago, gentlemen, traditionally strong in 4x400 meter running at all levels. Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, and the Pan American Games. So the victory they had today is just pretty much re-establishing the strength of TNT in 4x400 meter running. The women's 4x4 was also on today, and I should mention that the Jamaicans finished fourth there, but they were disqualified, and Barbados moved from fifth to fourth. And there was a disqualification in the women's 4x4 as well. Let's have a look at that race now.
Listen to the noise for Amma Pippi. She was only just off the podium in the individual 400 metres. England have not won this title for nearly 3 decades. The home crowd willing them on, roaring them on. One last lap for one last gold. England lead. Canada and Jamaica tied for second here. And they have Jessie Knight in their sights. It's Gould, the 800-metre specialist, trying to close for Jamaica with Constantine of Canada. So many times the Canadians have pulled it out of the bag. And Knight is beginning to feel the pressure here. Can she hang on? One last burst for glory. Is it going to be England's night? It's been a glittering, glorious week of athletics. She's still driving, she's still pushing, but Constantine is closing. What a finish to an epic week of athletics. Is it England or is it Canada? They're side by side, there's nothing to separate them. Oh my gosh, it's one of the best finishes to a 4x4 relay we have ever seen. Usually, it goes to the athlete closing with the momentum, but it was so close. Somehow, Jessie Knight.
Yes, so it was a photo finish with England getting the victory, but here is Jodie stepping on the inside, crossing over into the inside lane, and that infraction, a lane infraction, resulting, here's the overhead shot as well. She's in lane 3 there. You'll see her step across into lane 2 very clearly. There it is. She's already into lane 2. And that is the reason why the English team were disqualified after winning in a photo finish by 100th of a second over the Canadians. There was a report that the English team had protested the disqualification, but that obviously was thrown out because it's very clear there was a lane violation.
Yeah, and this is extremely tough because it's unlike the 4x1, which ends so quickly. All the other runners are going. And as we saw, this was one of the most thrilling ways to close out a championships, where the Canadian runner, Constantine, who made the 400-meter finals, she ran a 50.68 anchor leg and almost crossed the line first. And originally, they had given it to England by 1/100th of a second. Yes. And so to come to have that elation and that not be snatched away from you after that hard work, after you're feeling the pain, it must be immense. But of course, that's why they have the rules. And it was a clear violation. There's no question about it. And it's just unfortunate for England, but Jamaica benefited, and we're happy about that too.
Yeah. So Jamaica were the defending champions, 2 Commonwealth Games titles in a row, 2014 and 2018, having to settle for the silver medal here, promoted to the silver medal winning spot. Not the strongest Jamaica team, of course. Stephanie Ann McPherson and McLeod hadn't been there because they've gone.
Also Genevieve Russell as well.
And Genevieve Russell, who, well, she was in Birmingham but didn't compete in the 4x400. So the Jamaicans surrendering their 4x400 title for women. We're going to a break now. When we come back, we have a lot more track and field to talk about as we continue on Commonwealth Tonight. Yeah, the first final on the track that was staged today was the 100-meter hurdles final. That's the women's sprint hurdles, and there were 3 Caribbean athletes involved there: Megan Tapp and Danielle Williams from Jamaica, and the Bahamian Devine Charlton. And it was Charlton, the Bahamian, who was the lone Caribbean medalist in the event. A very, very brave run for her. Toby Amusan, the Nigerian world record holder, didn't disappoint and made things look easy. Let's
goes in 5. Watch for Amazan. She's forward from the left-hand side. Tapper's got away well, and Amazan's under a little bit of pressure. Now beginning to pull away the world champion, the world record holder. She's on her way to a successful title defence. Semba's on the podium, and so too Charlton of Bahamas. Their first medal, 12.129. Come at the hour, come at the champion. It's a successful title defence and a games record by a country mile. Amazan is on fire this season, and she has forgotten how to lose. Brilliant by the Nigerian, simply brilliant.
Well, 12.29 is special, ending under 12.3, super fast. Only a handful of women in history have gone quicker than that. And the wind, it was minus 0.2. Wasn't helpful. It would have been around +1, +1.5. She'd have loved that, I think. Great racing. Such coolness under pressure there from Amazan. I'll tell you what, it's not always easy to shoulder the burden of expectation. Devon Charlton there, 12.58 for the silver, 1/100 there.
Yeah, I was saying earlier this week that her full name is really Oluwatobe Loba Amusan. Luckily for us as commentators, she only uses Toby Amusan. Yep. So she was brilliant today. And this game's record was always on the cards, wasn't it, Oba?
Yes, and she ran a windy 12.40 in the semifinals. So the writing was on the wall that the record, which Bridget Foster Hilton held, for quite some time, is gone. But here we see Amazan, who recently ran world record 12.12 and then a windy 12.06, and she looks so in control. Tapper got out to an extremely fast start, and at that stage, I think last night I predicted that she might split Amazan and Sember, who eventually came third, but it was Devon Charlton on the outside who finished extremely fast. She finished second at the World Indoors this year, and she ran a new Bahamian record and personal best of 12.46 in Eugene. But here we see Amazan is just on top of her game. This is her second fastest legal time, and I think it puts to rest the doubters who said Eugene was a fluke. This is a dominant performance. She's lowered the African record several times this season. As you see her tongues out, waving to the crowd, she knows that she is the #1 hurdler in the world.
Yeah, and how fluid is this women's sprint hurdles, Leighton? Because not too long ago, Camacho Quinn appeared unbeaten. Kenny Harrison, the world record holder, also appeared to be the best in the world. And here comes Amusan now to turn the tables.
Look, Toby Amusan has been sending this message that she was going to be a world beater from maybe 2017, and then in 2018 she won her first Commonwealth title. But what has been happening in the last few years at UTEP, and of course, under the more specific guidance of Lassina Golding-Clark, is that they've gradually fine-tuned her mechanics and her speed between the hurdles. Everything now seems to have come together, and right now she looks unbeatable. I thought Jasmine Camacho Quinn was the woman to beat going into the World Championship.
She raced unbeaten last year.
For the last 2 years. She lost one race before the World Championship finals. The thing is, I don't know, she had an injury issue. She had an sore Achilles issue that kind of hampered her at the World Championship, but I don't think it would have made a difference. What we've seen from Toby Amusan now is where Jasmine has taken it, Kenny Harrison has taken it, where they're so efficient now that it's just a matter of how long before they actually break 12 seconds over the hurdle.
And Oba, a quick word on Devine Charlton, the Bahamian, who is obviously loaded with quality, but she's on a platform that really makes it difficult for her to shine, given the global talent in the event.
Yeah, this final had 4 of the finalists from Eugene. And for her to be able to come out and run this kind of a race, we see her here, she's not the tallest, but she's moving extremely well. And what impressed me was her closing. Like I said, she's known to be a good starter. So for her to close this and to be able to come away with hardware among this kind of field speaks volumes of where she's at, and hopefully this bodes well for her future as well.
Because when she was at Purdue, she was a really talented hurdler. Yes. She won a lot of titles there, and she won a lot of races there. I remember talking to her back then, and she was even sure she wanted to go pro. She was thinking maybe just transition into I think she has a biochemistry degree or something like that. So to see her now fulfilling her potential is really cool. It's really
Well, we're going to leave the hurdles now. We go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk some javelin stuff, and a shocker today with Anderson Peters, a Grenadian world champion, failing to lift the title that we all expected him to. Back in a moment. So the men's javelin, one of the most highly anticipated events on the Commonwealth Games program, that happened today. And you know what? The javelin event is going through a serious transition. Prior to 2014, there had been no non-Caucasian winner of the javelin gold medal. Here comes the Kenyan Julius Yego in 2014 to win gold. Then Chopra, the Indian, winning gold in 2018. And this Pakistani today, Arshad Nadeem, with a tremendous performance, over 90 meters his throw. Disappointment, though, for Anderson Peters, who has thrown this year on multiple occasions further than the Pakistani winner threw today, but he just didn't get things right. And he finished with a silver medal, which for him is a disappointment, gents.
Absolutely. I mean, we said it earlier here. I said it earlier here that that was almost a given that Anderson Peters was going to win the javelin. And he struggled early with a couple of bad throws. And then he found a throw in the fifth round, 88 meters 64, that the look on his face suggested that, okay, good, it's over. But then, the Pakistani had other ideas.
Yeah, these were one of his early throws here when he was falling below what you would expect. Of course, he's a two-time world champion at the moment, having won in Doha and repeated in Eugene, Oregon last month. So that throw now in the region of 83 meters is well below what he is capable of.
Yes, indeed.
10 meters below what he's capable of.
And he threw over 90 meters, I believe, twice in Eugene a couple weeks ago, and has been. He had one or two meets that he didn't do so well, but generally on the European circuit, he's been doing extremely well. So this is a disappointment. You can also see in the body language. Usually when he's throwing well, you can tell. Yeah. Here, he, as Leighton was saying, he struggled early on to find his rhythm. And it's unusual and unfortunate that a day of a championship, you are like this. But that's the reason why you only award the medals after the performance. You don't just deliver it based on what's on the paper.
Yeah, and the fact is that his fifth throw, which was 88 meters plus, had vaulted him into the lead.
Yep.
And I thought, based on his body language, that he may have thought at this point that he was the winner here. Yeah, as it left his arm, you saw the celebration, because he knew that 88 throw 88.64 was the leading throw at the time. And given his opposition, he felt reasonably confident that no one would have been able to top that. But Nadeem did.
Yeah, I mean,
in a games record.
You saw two expressions there. A sense of relief that he finally got a big throw in, and also the belief that, hey, it's over, which is why I think his final throw wasn't as good, because mentally I think he had switched off, thinking that it was done. But then Nadeem comes in and he throws 90.18, and he couldn't get himself back up to deliver.
Yeah, I think he sort of personal best by, I think, about 3 meters or so. So this is not foreseen. This is completely unforeseen, but that's also the nature of sports and the nature of an event like the javelin.
Yeah. So what a shocker there for the Pakistani coming up with a victory. Arshad Nadeem with a games record 90.18 meters and denying the favorite and reigning world champion Anderson Peters from Grenada, who takes the defeat well, congratulates his rival.
Yeah, the throwing community is a very harmonious community.
Yeah, the field events.
Yeah, field events in general, they tend to get along very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when you have the size of these guys, nobody wants to get on anybody's bad side. so it's best to be friends. Huh?
Yeah. Well, let's hear what Anderson Peters had to say after competing and taking the silver from the Commonwealth Games. An upgrade on the bronze he won last time, but given his current status in world javelin, not the medal he wanted. Let's hear what he had to say.
Speaking with the world champion
Anderson Peters, a silver medal at the Commonwealth Games tonight. First of all, Anderson, how do you assess tonight's performance? And just give me an idea of how you're feeling right now.
Right now, I feel really good still. I had a really rough start to the games. Couldn't get past 83 meters. I mean, I was struggling a bit, but I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm really happy for Nadim. Getting over 90 meters, that's really good for him. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and he's been suffering with some injuries, so, I'm really happy for him to get over 90. But, I'm satisfied.
You spoke about the slow start, didn't get going until late in the competition. Your best effort, I think, coming in the 5th round. What would you say was the reason for that slow start?
I mean, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I wasn't connecting with the javelin. My timing was off a little bit, so, I just wasn't feeling it. So, that it just took some time to get into the rhythm.
How tough has it been, of course, since defending your world title? Not a long turnaround before coming into this competition?
It's been okay. I mean, I've been competing since May, so it's a pretty long season. But going to take a little time off and recuperate and get myself back out there.
Yeah, so congrats there on Anderson Peters for his silver medal effort and current world champion and best in the world for sure, but falling short today of his best and having to settle for the silver medal. There was a bronze medal in the triple jump this morning from Janai Perenchi from Bermuda. The second time a Bermudan is winning a medal in the triple jump at the Commonwealth Games. The 1994 bronze medal winner Brian Wellman was the first, and Perenchi coming up with a 16.92 effort today that earned him a podium finish.
Yeah, and he was disappointed too with the final mark. I think he wanted to get over 17 meters, but a very good performance because the two Indians who finished ahead of him, 17:03 and 17:02, were within touching distance. Huh? So when it's that close, sometimes you feel like, if you had just a little bit more, you could have got in the money. But still, a very, very good performance. 16.92 is not world class per se. It's not at the elite level. 17 meters and closer to 18 meters where usually it's at.
Yeah.
But for the Commonwealth Games and for what the winning distances were, this was a pretty solid performance.
Yeah, well, let's check out the performance now, and then we get Oba to comment on Janai Perenchi from Bermuda.
Perenchi of Bermuda is orchestrating the crowd right now. It's funny, every athlete seems to have their own rhythm, how they like the crowd to clap. Some like it fast, some like it slow. Oh, and that is big. He likes that one.
What a reaction. He knew it was big, 5th in the world indoors. He's also a brilliant high jumper, 7th in the world juniors. So he's clearly got incredible muscle strength and flexibility. What a story this would be for Bermuda.
Perenchi at the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist, 16.92, Bermuda's second medal of these Commonwealth Games. Janai, talk to me about that competition. Took the lead early, and then you're under pressure midway.
Yeah, it was a good comp. I just came out here with a new approach because Wells didn't go good for me. So next day I went in practice. Believe it or not, my coach is smart enough to fix my approach, and came out here and tried to execute as best as I could. But
talk to me about the emotions of winning a bronze medal for your country.
It's good. I definitely want to go. We don't like coming third or second, but it's big, especially from a small country, only about 65,000 people. So we have Flora Duffy, who's a legend. She won't go to the Olympics, and I just try following footsteps like hers. And we have greats like Brian Wellman and Nikki Saunders, who has the record in high jump her. So, I'm just trying to follow in footsteps of the greats.
And in terms of the distance itself, 16.92, how pleased are you with that?
Not too pleased. I was trying to shoot for 17.20 at least. My boy Jaden did it, so but I'm pleased to get a medal. It means a lot for the country. and myself included.
You talk about Jaden, that's Jaden Hibbert, the world under 20 gold medalist, 17:27, just outside the Jamaican record. And you're part of that awesome group at Arkansas, which will have even more Jamaicans coming this August. How are you looking forward to that, even more improvement in that training group?
No, I love it. That's what I'm saying. I want to get to train with him. You know what I mean? He's a great talent, and I know we could push each other. You know, he's young. I'm a little older, but, you know, I'm going to try to guide him as best as I can, and, you know, I can learn from him as well. Obviously, he knows what he's doing, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, well, we look forward to that. And you're older, but you're not old.
Yeah, not too old. Still pretty young.
Yeah, and the Bermudans have produced some pretty solid jumpers in the past. I mentioned Brian Wellman. There's also Aranja King, who had won a World Youth long jump title before, and Oba. You would have competed against a lot of Bermudans in the past, but I know none of them as fast as you were, so you didn't consider them a threat. But I'm sure you have something positive to say about Janai Perenchief.
Oh, absolutely. And today I feel amazing because Barbados wins medals. My mother is Bermudian.
That's right. See? That's right, yes.
So I was smiling when he jumped 1692 in his first round and jumped into the lead. I was extremely happy. I know he wanted to get over the 17-meter barrier today, but getting hardware, as I say, is always good. And the other thing he's extremely talented. He's also jumped 226 in the high jump.
That's right.
So the group in Arkansas, they have real jumpers, and there's no doubt the whole principle of iron sharpening iron. What he talks about, his excitement to get back into training with some of the best, as we saw in his group. Also, the long jump champion from Bahamas, Laquan Nairn, trains in that group.
Yep.
I expect great things from him and others from the Caribbean from that group.
Yeah, and Obadele Thompson, a pure Caribbean product. His mom from Bermuda, his dad is Guyanese, and he's Barbadian. Only Barbadian in history with an individual Olympic medal coming from the 2000 Games in Sydney. We go to break. Still a lot more to come on Commonwealth Tonight, the studio show, looking back at day 10 of the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Yes, so the sprint relays got things off in the morning session in track and field at the Alexander Stadium. The women were in action first. Jamaica, TNT, both having teams in the women's 4x1.
The women's sprint relay. There's a clean start as well. Amizan getting out nicely in lane number 4, as expected. India going well in lane number 7. Australia in lane number 8 too. This is good running by Nigeria in lane number 4. All look pretty safe on the changeovers. Imani Lansiko flying down the back straight, as is Favour Ophili of Nigeria. Second changeover, hands held high. Australia on the outside in lane 8 going well. Nigeria, though, flying round with Chukwuma on the third leg. Hands back for the Nigerians. A roar from her teammate. Nigeria going to take this one, even with Darren Leach in second. Keep an eye on Thompson here, though. The Jamaican superstar comes through for bronze for the Jamaican side, but 42.10 seconds, just outside the game's record, but that was brilliant from Nigeria.
Kemba, talk to me about that performance.
It was fairly good. The aim was just to try and catch the person in front of me as quickly as possible. I have to look at the film, not sure how well I did that, but it was a good run, I feel like, nonetheless.
Yeah, Natalia White, 2 individual finals, and you finally have your Commonwealth Games medal. How are you feeling?
Happy. Not medaling the 200 last night. I was really going for it. So I decided today we're going to come out, show out, and get on the podium.
Well, congratulations on that. And Ramona Burchell, you are a Commonwealth Games medalist. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling happy, pleased. I came here to run the 4x1. I was put into the 100, but I'm grateful I got the chance to come out here and compete with these girls, and we got a bronze medal.
And Leighton Thompson here for a moment there. It looked as if the Jamaicans would not medal. You got the baton some way down, but that was a stunning anchor leg. What were you thinking when you got that baton in about 5th position?
I was saying, come on, Ramona, but nevertheless, it's a team effort, you know. I got 2 medals. I want to help the team to get another 3rd medal, even though the aim is always a goal, but we still achieve a medal and we can't complain.
Yeah, so the Jamaicans owe that bronze medal to the sprint double champion, Leighton Thompson-Hira, because she finished like a house on fire there, Elaine.
If they were getting money, they should have given Elaine all of that money, because had it not been for her, they would have been coming home empty-handed. Look, I've said that look, I don't want people to think that I'm being mean to the team, because I'm not. But the reality is that I think Natalia White was not at her best. She looked spent. Kemba wasn't as sharp as she would have been, and understandably so with a full collegiate season. Ramona Birchall is a 2014 NCAA champion and a 2015 champion as well, but she's not had the confidence because of injuries over the last 6 or 7 years that has really damaged her progress in a major way. So understandable the performances, but thankful that Elaine was able to bail them out in this particular circumstance.
Yeah, and Oba, clearly not the strongest Jamaican unit in Birmingham, because the Jamaicans are boasting at the moment having all of the women's 100-meter titles that matter. The Olympic title, the World title, the Commonwealth Games title, the Pan American Games title, and the World Under-20 Championship title. So as far as women's sprinting is concerned, the Jamaicans are pretty satisfied with where they are, with Thompson-Hira having Commonwealth, Pan Am, and Olympic, Shelly-Ann Fraser World, and as we said, Tina Clayton, the Under-20. So this isn't a true representation of where Jamaica's women's sprinting is.
Indeed, and when you consider that the Under-20 team reset the world record of 42, I believe 59, a couple of days ago at the World Junior Championships in Cali, Colombia, and we see that the senior team is running 43, I think, 08 or something like that.
I mean, this senior team.
This senior team, right? We knew there was going to be some trouble in the qualifications when they qualified in 43.66. Thankfully, Elaine was there. As Leighton said, they just didn't look sharp. Kemba has had a long collegiate season. White, she's run individual events at this level, I believe, for the first time, because when you consider all the great sprinters that she's had to come behind, now to run these number of races and to make finals and then to keep running the relays. It wasn't the best performance, but once more, as I said before, you get the hardware, and that's what's important.
A very smart run by the Nigerians, by the way, 42.10, and getting a very, very outstanding win. The men's 4x1 was also on tap today, and there were 3 Caribbean teams involved, TNT, Guyana, and St. Lucia. Let's see how they fared.
For one of these teams, it'll be a day they will never, ever forget. Who takes the early advantage? It's pretty even at the moment. Watch for the exchanges. Good work by the Kenyans. Oh, actually, I say that, they've got a problem. That's a nightmare of just watching. It looked like it was a good changeover, but it wasn't. Down the back straight, Zarnell Hughes. Very close here. England coming round that bend. Mitchell Blake to Emma Bowen. And it's England from Trinidad and Nigeria. And listen to the roar from the crowd. O.J. Edeforen is going to anchor the English to glory on their home patch. The hometown heroes deliver the grandstand finish to a brilliant morning in Birmingham. O.J. Edeforen was miles clear.
Kyle, what a brilliant anchor leg, by the way, because you got the baton in 3rd and you were able to come through brilliantly.
Well, I had to commend the younger team, the younger guys. They put on a good body of work, and I felt the surge of energy to bring it home for them and for Team TTU.
What does this mean to you guys?
You know, this opportunity in itself was a great experience, but to come out here, you know, get a medal, you know, it's truly an honor. You know, bring back some hardware for Trinidad. So, you know, it's been a long season for a lot of us college athletes. So, you know, come out here, execute, and finish the meet all strong with a medal is you know, it's amazing. So,
how was it for you?
I mean, it was an amazing experience. You know, this is the first time, you know, on the big stage in a final. So, you know, this means a lot to me. I love the atmosphere in England. You know, I always used to love the English, and I love just representing Trinidad and Tobago. You know, just always big up Trinidad and Tobago. Team TTO 868, everything, mood set, everything.
Sounds good. And Gerard, the man who was on the opening leg, a flying start for you today, Gerard. Talk to me about that leg.
I know I had to get out there to give Eric in a good position. I told you we was going hard in the finals, and we did it.
Yeah, for sure. The Trinis enjoyed themselves at the Alexander Stadium today in Birmingham City, and they really had a good day. The English were not for beating. They were favourites going in, and it would have been hard to stop the English in that 4x1.
And I was very impressed with Trinidad and Tobago. Look, no Jeremy Richards, no Richard Thompson, no Mark Burns, no Keston Bledman. I mean, these guys are coming up. And this performance, the 38-70, I think it was a really solid run from all four legs here. And I thought it was a well-deserved silver medal today.
Yeah, Guyana 4th, St. Lucia 5th, St. Lucia in 40.27, outside the 39.96 national record they had done the day before to get into the final. But good to see Guyana and St. Lucia battling in a 4x100 Commonwealth final.
Absolutely. Our region is rich in talent. I think something that Leighton said earlier on about us perhaps having more solidarity in our development of athletes, it really is to our benefit as a region. And to be able to have athletes who are talented have access to the coaching, the structure, the facilities, I think that the region will do even better. But seeing Trinidad and what really makes me excited is that it's a young team, and you see the bond that is there. You see Kyle Grohl, who has made major finals, Commonwealth Games finals, World Championships finals in the 200. He's a sub-20 200-meter man at his best. Being there, I think this is great, and I think this is how it should be. It should be about succession. I always look, when I competed, as holding the baton for the Caribbean from the greats that came before, passing it on. In my time, it was, of course, Otto Bolden and Kim Collins, Sir Kim Collins. And then we passed it on to the Safa Powells and then Usain and others who came. And so I believe this is really how it should be done. We should be thinking about succession continually, and that's how we will continue to be among the best in the world.
Yeah, so TNT having a big day at the Commonwealth Games today. Now, yesterday, after his 200-meter win at the Commonwealth Games, Jareem Richards, in his interview with Ricardo Chambers, had a special request. Can you remember what that was?
One request, if anybody from this meet could hear it, I would love to hear the national anthem in the steel pan rendition. I would love to hear that one. If I could get the national anthem tomorrow, please go out in the morning in the steel pan rendition. That'll make my day. That's my favorite anthem, the steel pan one.
You know what? You have to like Jareem the Dream Richards. I suspect that when Nicholas Paul had won his Kieran Gold, the opening weekend at the Commonwealth Games, it was the formal anthem, Trinidad and Tobago anthem that was played, and Mr. Richard says he doesn't want that. He wants the steel pan
version, and I know a lot of work went in behind the scenes to make that possible.
But you know what they call the Commonwealth Games, the friendly games.
Yeah.
So I guess it is natural for the organizers to be accommodating because of the nature of the games.
And it was a wonderful gesture. I mean, and he deserved it. 2 gold medals at these championships.
So he heard it twice, actually, because in the 4x4 today, it was the steel pan version again.
Yep.
Great going, TNT and Jareem the Dream Richards. We still have more to come on Commonwealth Tonight, the studio show, as we look back at Day 10 of the Commonwealth Games, Birmingham 2022. So on Monday, it will be the final day of competition at the Commonwealth Games. And let's look at some of the events lined up. Badminton, gold medal action starting at 2 in the morning, 3 Eastern Caribbean time. There's table tennis, men's and women's bronze and gold medal matches starting at 3:30, 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time. Diving comes up after that. And then there's a hockey gold medal match at 6:30, 7:30 Eastern Caribbean time. There are the squash bronze and gold medal playoffs as well, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Caribbean time. The closing ceremony is scheduled for 3:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And then the Commonwealth Tonight show is at 6:30, 7:30 Eastern Caribbean time. I want to mention quickly before we wrap the show that for cricket fans, the women's final was played today, that T20 final, and Australia defeated India by 9 runs in a gripping match. Beth Mooney 6-1 and Ashley Gardner, the off spinner, picking up 3 wickets, leading the way for the Aussies. This match, of course, played at Edgbaston, and you may remember that as the ground where brand Charles Lara scored a world record 501 not out for Warwickshire against Durham for a first-class world record that is still to be broken. On the squash courts today, you did have a doubles plate final between the Cayman Islands and Barbados. The Cayman Islands team of Cameron Stafford and Julian Jervis defeating the Barbadian pair of Sean Simpson and Kamal Cumberbatch 11-7, 11-7 to win the plate final. So no medals on offer for those plate events. It's a consolation event when you fall out of the championship main draw. And no medals on the plate. Sean Simpson and Kamal Cumberbatch for Barbados falling short today. Sean Simpson, by the way, a double international for Barbados, represents them at squash and has also represented them in volleyball. A tall lefty who was unable to get that plate medal today. Tomorrow, the final day, there's going to be action in diving, badminton, hockey, squash, some table tennis as well, and no medals on offer for Caribbean representation because the Caribbean competitors didn't do very well in those disciplines. But winding down to the closing ceremony as well to close off 11 days of really good quality competition.
Absolutely. I thought these championships were really entertaining. I mean, so some of the events, the standard wasn't particularly high, but it was competitive, and that's what you ask for.
Yeah.
The kind of intense rivalry that makes sport interesting and exciting, and you couldn't ask for more. And the crowds obviously were a big part of it as well.
Yeah, and in 15 seconds over your closing shots.
Yeah,
you're a speed man, so I don't think you have any problems.
You're taking my time. I agree with what Leighton said. It was good that crowds are back out there. Many of the venues were full, and I think that's going to be a big boost to sports going forward in the years ahead.
Yeah, great. Thank you all for joining us. Of course, as we said, we start early in the morning, approximately 3 o'clock Eastern Caribbean time. The closing ceremony comes up at 3:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And look out for Commonwealth Tonight, the final show. George Davis should be hosting that final show tomorrow night. 6:30 Jamaica time, 7:30 Eastern Caribbean.